Realizing your true potential in life, Part 2. Challenging common thought traps. Recognize and challenge generalization. Generalization occurs when you extrapolate from one experience to the entire human race. Generalizing makes you appear like a failure rather than a person who occasionally makes mistakes, since it totalizes you. You may not be able to realize your full potential because of this. How can you be encouraged to realize your greatest potential when you feel that way? Let's use developing the next great technology as an example, but it hasn't yet been successful. You've tried 7 experiments, and they've all failed. You might draw conclusions from this and say, "I'm such a loser, I'll never get this job," for example. A better line of action would be to consider this. This experiment didn't work out. That's okay, though, since I can try something different that just might work now that I know even more about what doesn't work. It's not you who failed. You are a person who continuously develops and gains knowledge from her errors. Recognize mental filtering and challenge it. This mental trap might stop you in your tracks by distorting your focus. When you filter, you dismiss a situation's favorable aspects and focus mostly on its negative ones. You should only focus on the 3 areas that require work if your teacher provides feedback on an essay that is 70% positive. Make an effort to approach the topic from a distance. When presenting the case as facts, make an effort to be as impartial as you can. The following could come to mind in this scenario. I received 10 remarks from my teacher, 7 of which were positive. The 3 areas that need improvement are things I can work on. These negative remarks do not take away from the favorable ones. Watch for all or nothing thinking. Because success rarely begins perfectly, all or nothing thinking typically undermines it. All or nothing mentality prevents you from allowing yourself any room for compromise. Either your endeavor is successful or it is not. For instance, if you wanted to learn the violin, all or nothing thinking would only accept excellence. Instead of allowing you to celebrate your growth as you get better and better at performing a piece, it just criticizes you for all the errors you make along the way. Instead, remember that because perfection is an impossible standard, no one can achieve it. One setback or mistake won't undo all of your work. Both you and others should receive this generosity. Stop catastrophizing in its tracks. Catastrophizing is another mental trap that might keep you from realizing your greatest potential. When we have pessimistic thoughts, we let our minds wander. What we expect to happen is the worst-case scenario. Because of our fear of it, we might not allow ourselves to be as open to failure as is necessary to achieve in the long run. To reach your greatest potential, for instance, a terrible marriage may need to be ended. But what if I never find another person to love? You could ask. One day I'll be living alone. I'll be miserable the rest of my life. My cats will eat me if I die in my apartment alone and no one comes to see me. Make gathering evidence for each leap you take a need for yourself in order to avoid catastrophizing. Is it really feasible that you'll never experience romantic love? No. Given that there are billions of individuals on the earth, there are probably several people you could be happy with. If you live alone, would cats eat you and you'll be lonely? Is that really what happens? No. Even though they live alone, many people have vibrant, rewarding social lives. Stop shielding yourself. When you become caught in this mental snare, you feel under pressure to live up to others' expectations. You might not be able to fulfill your full potential if you base your decisions on what you should do rather than what feels right to you. As an example, maybe you've heard that you should have children by a certain age. You could feel like a failure if you've gotten to that age and haven't given birth. However, consider whether you should wait to start having children if you truly want to have them. Or were you allowing yourself to be undermined by that should? As long as you are living by your values, you don't need to comply with other people's expectations. When you notice yourself saying should or must, stop and think about where your thoughts are coming from. If you find that thought is founded on fear, challenge it. Ask yourself if you truly feel that way, or if you are just acting on your doctor's advice. If you find yourself thinking, I shouldn't eat that cookie today because I should lose weight. Or do you feel pressurized from societal norms? I won't have that cookie today because I'm trying to get healthier, you might say in the first instance. If the latter, remind yourself, I will have that cookie because I love myself precisely as I am and I don't need to live up to anyone's expectations. To be kind to yourself. This is the end of part 2 of this video. Stay tuned for part 3 coming up next week. Hope this helps. Good luck.